example, this song that I'm working on now, what I had said worked for it is that it's not very descriptive, but there's a little bit of an emotional pull to it. And part of that is just because of the phrasing and interpretation of those words and the pace at which I sang along with the kind of melody that was going with it. And as you know, there's a saying that, well, I don't hear it around that often anymore from anyone, anywhere, but I think probably some people have heard the expression, oh, she's so pretty, or he's so good looking, you know, they could get away with wearing a potato sack. And, you know, or they could make a potato sack look good. And part of that is that, you know, the sack is obviously a potato sack. But someone wearing that sack is able to somehow change this ordinary thing into a fashion statement, or something that looks sort of cleverly arranged, I guess. So it just kind of depends on the direction of the song. Also with songs, and with that one in particular, looking at how I might change the words around or leave them, there are a couple of things that happen, because everything that you do with a song, whether you're writing it for yourself or for someone else, for a group of people, is going to change the marketability of that song and how many people it reaches. Because you could write a song that's very vague and generalized, as a lot of romantic songs sometimes are. For example, there is a song that goes, I'm dreaming of a man, the man I love, and he'll be big and strong, the man I love. And though it seems so sad, yeah, that kind of, some of those words are out of order, but those lyrics in that song are very vague, and they're sort of repetitious as well. But it's actually leaving it open to more possibilities in the imagination. You give something, leaves room for the imagination. So sometimes that is good, and it can reach a larger audience. And other times you want to crispen it up a little bit, and I did that a little with this song, and then it becomes more like, this one I think has become slightly more socially conscious in undertone. So that might not reach as many people, but because if you make it more into a song about running to safety, and more specific, then it will sometimes narrow down the audience a little bit. For example, you know, if you're singing a song about specifically refugees and going to a refugee shelter, that is not necessarily a song that's going to end up in the top #1, top 10 Billboard list, and would not necessarily get first time play from the radio stations. However, it could be a song that's interesting enough that it would be inserted among other songs that do get played on a collection of music, you know, for a CD. So anyway, that's a little bit about thinking about the audience and marketability. So a lot of times you just want to write a song that sounds good, doesn't matter who it's for. So what I did, I'm going to show you, is basically it's the concept process. What I would say is the concept process. And this is, again, that same piece of paper. And I think I will do something like this so that you can see this is what I had before. And then just today I started working on this, and I didn't spend a lot of time on that at all. And you can see that it's all over the place here. And part of that, I realized, is my flow of writing and the direction and how I wrap around and am not so linear is partly due to the fact that when I was younger and using envelopes, I didn't have a lot of space. So I was using every part of the envelope, including the sidelines. And what I did here is I began generating some ideas. Let me see here. So I have some things. Don't spend too much time thinking. I cropped some parts. I included a line called "Pennies fall from the sky winking." Then I thought maybe I would change that to blinking instead of winking. And that is going with an idea of penny for your thoughts. The other idea is that caused me to then think about the movie Rescuers Down Under. Am I thinking about just pennies and penny for your thoughts? Am I thinking about pennies as in people who need a safe place to go to and who are wanting to be rescued, which is not the romantic connotation at all. And then thinking, how do we crush that hesitation? In that context, to me, then it begins to sound, I wrote strangers in the field reaping what you've sown or keeping the pennies. So then crush that hesitation, I began to think it sounds a little bit like grapes of wrath, like crushing the wine in the vats. And that book about the Great Depression. And that combined with the idea of of a section in Proverbs. There is a verse that talks about you will plant your own vineyards, but another person will reap what you have sown. And it's an admonition, or it's actually reference to sort of a curse, that you work so hard and you will plant your own vineyards, and someone else is going to profit from that vineyard, or from that field. It's not a vineyard in that section. It is, I believe, a field. So some of these ideas, of course, coming from my personal background and experience and things that come to mind as I go along and revise things. And then I kept a lot of the material, but changed this part, and I didn't think I need thinking at the very end and thinking at the very beginning, like the spelling bee. Thinking. Let me define that for you. Thinking. Jeopardy quiz. So I thought about ways to change it, and then I thought, oh, okay, I haven't sung that melody and haven't tried these lyrics with that. And does that work? And will I then now want to adjust the music a little bit? So the next thing that I did is, still not having a complete form to this, I then wrote some of this into another half sheet paper in a little bit more. It's not a complete, still draft, but this is sort of putting some of those ideas into slightly more of a form. And again, nothing is completely designated, but there's a little bit of a verse here, chorus idea here, verse 2, going back to the chorus idea, and then idea of a bridge, and where that can be inserted could be anywhere. So I've worked on a couple of ideas, just sort of juggled things around a little bit, and whether it works or not, I don't know yet. So I will have to try that with music and see. And right now, this is just kind of showing you some of the thought process in thinking about how you might adjust a song. And so now when I look at the lyrics here, I think I have a little bit more of a template for more of a socially conscious type of a song. And whether that's really going to work with the same music or melody, I'm not sure. So if I want to change that, I can change that. And and then also you can always, it's not something I've done here, but you can always take something and split it two ways. I mean, you could take a romantic harmony or melody along with some lyrics and come up with a song idea for that, and then take another part of it and come up with more of a song for kind of an activist type of a song, and work on that and develop both of them at the same time. So this is basically just sort of some ideas. And also some of the rhyming. Some songs, some lyrics rhyme, some don't. Some have an internal rhyme or rhythm that carries them along, and others don't. I didn't necessarily need to make this a fully rhyming song, because it has some internal rhyme to it. But I also thought that I would make some of the concepts a little more picturesque, which is why I decided to go with pennies fall from the sky blinking, because to me that's if they fall from the sky, when they turn over, if they turn over. Sort of like how we blink. And it personalizes the pennies, and then sort of then alludes in a way to the pennies, like from The Rescuers Down Under, which is not something that I'm describing fully in the song, but it makes it a more complex piece of work that is maybe more has meaning to either me or to other people in more than one way. So this is the lesson for that's lesson 3. And next time what I will do next is look at the harmony again and see if I can sing these new words into that same melody. And I'll let you know what I come up with at that point. And then after that, I think instead of refining the song more, which actually is something that I could decide to do, but shortly after that I will just choose to come up with another song impromptu and show you what I've done, because this is actually a song and a word and concept that I worked on a while ago, a couple decades ago. So it is new in a sense, but it's also not new, because when you end up on the same thing more than one time, it's not new, even if it is a random occurrence. So have a great day or evening wherever you may be.